I want to welcome you to the December 15th episode of Laid Back History's 2023 Advent Calendar. Let's see what we're going to look at today. So what we're looking at is silver from a silversmith here in Washington by the name of Jacob Schaefer. Jacob Schaefer has a pretty interesting story. He was born around 1760 in York County. He would go on to serve in the York County militia during the Revolutionary War. Afterwards, he would move to Lancaster and he would apprentice under a silversmith by the name of Charles Hall. So he worked with Charles Hall for a little bit of time, and then Charles Hall passed away. So Jacob Schaefer took over his business, but he was kind of new to it. There were other well-established silversmiths in the area, and so he wasn't doing great. And he decided that he would move west where there would be less competition. So he decided this around 1787. 2 years later, in 1789, he shows up in Washington. Not sure in the 2-year span exactly, where he went, but we know that he shows up in Washington in 1789, and he is renting a room up on North Main Street, and then he's also renting a small workspace that he's using as his silversmith business. In 1793, we have a deed that he bought property on South Main Street. He bought one lot, and then 2 years later, he buys the adjoining lot. And those would be where the buy and sell outlet is now, right across from the Bradford House. Those two lots he bought. The Morgan Block, I think, is what that building is called. So he ends up building a 2-story log house and then a workshop. And his silversmith business does great. In fact, later on during the War of 1812, he is actually contracted with the United States Navy to provide buttons and engraving on swords for the Navy that was up on Lake Erie. So the business grows and he does very well for himself. What's kind of neat is that in 1793, so jumping back a little bit, we see him as listed as a member of the Mechanic Society. Now, the Mechanic Society is not what you may be thinking. It has nothing to do with car mechanics, auto mechanics. A mechanic in the 18th and early 19th century was just another term for a craftsman or a tradesman. And the Washington Mechanic Society, they felt it was their duty, their job, to train other craftsmen and tradesmen. They didn't want to see these trades die off. They didn't want to just bogart the information like, I know how to do it and I'm the only one that's going to know how, and when I die, it's gone. No, they wanted to pass it on. They wanted to pass on their knowledge and their experience. And so the Mechanic Society started a program of internships to where those, and I said internships, but really apprenticeships, where those that wanted to get into the trade could work with these experienced craftsmen. And there was a trade-off, though. So you would do work for that craftsman as part of your experience, and so you would have to sign on to an indenture for 2 years. So you would stay and learn off of them for 2 years, but also you would be doing work for them. And it worked out real well, and you see these crafts being passed on. Now, I will say in 1797, Schaefer had a little bit of an issue. He had an apprentice by the name of John Patterson who took off before his indenture was fulfilled. And so he had to track him down, and the court ordered that Patterson must return and fulfill his obligation to Schaefer. But Jacob Schaefer did, as I said, did extremely well for himself. You see the silver here again that we have in our collection. The majority of that we have from Schaefer has been donated by Tim Moore. Tim is a Jacob Schaefer collector, but also wants to save a lot of that history, and so he has donated stuff here to the Historical Society for us. So now Schaefer would work his business, from what we can tell, ran all the way to 1850. It looks like, according to census records, that he still had his business open in 1850 at the age of 90. He was still working. In 1852, he passed away at the age of 92, and he is buried in the Washington Cemetery here just outside of town. But he has this lasting legacy. His son would become a silversmith as well, but he has this lasting legacy because of people like Tim Moore, who are collecting him and helping us preserve this amazing history. So that's your story for today. I will see you tomorrow for the December 16th episode of Laid Back History's 2023 Advent Calendar.